Most people have heard about the statue in the book of Daniel, but almost nobody actually understands what it's saying. They treat it like an old religious story, something symbolic, something vague, something disconnected from real life. But what if that's exactly where they got it wrong? What if that statue isn't just a story, but a timeline? A king once had a dream so disturbing it shook him to his core, not just because it was strange, but because something about it felt real, like it meant something bigger than him. And what happened next changed everything. Because when that dream was finally revealed and interpreted, it didn't just explain his kingdom. It mapped out the rise and fall of world empires one after another, all the way to the end. And here's the part most people don't want to think about. If it's been right about everything so far, then we're not waiting for prophecy to start. We're already inside it. The king who couldn't sleep. We're going back to ancient Babylon. This isn't just any kingdom. This is power at its peak. Wealth, influence, control. Babylon wasn't rising. It had already arrived. At the center of it all is Nebuchadnezzar II, the most powerful ruler on earth at the time, and one night, he dreams. Now, everybody dreams. Most dreams fade by morning. This one didn't. This one stayed. It gripped him so deeply that he wakes up shaken, disturbed, almost paranoid. And here's where it gets strange. He calls in his wise men, magicians, astrologers, advisors, the best minds in the empire. But instead of telling them the dream, he demands that they tell him what he dreamed and then interpret it. Think about that. Not, here's my dream, what does it mean? No, you tell me what I saw or you die. Because he knew something. If they were real, if they truly had insight, they wouldn't need him to explain it. And they panic. They stall. They argue. They say no one on earth can do this. And Nebuchadnezzar doesn't care. He orders them all to be executed. Just like that. And that's when Daniel steps in. Now, Daniel isn't part of Babylon's elite because of power or politics. He's a captive, taken from Judah, brought into Babylon. But what he does have is something none of the others have. Clarity, not from himself, but from God. Daniel asks for time. He doesn't panic. He doesn't guess. He prays. And what happens next is the turning point of the entire story, because the dream is revealed to him, not partially, completely. And the interpretation comes with it. So Daniel stands before the most powerful king on earth and basically says, you had a dream. You saw something massive, something symbolic. And it wasn't random. It was a message. The statue. Daniel begins to describe the dream, and this is where everything shifts. He tells the king, you saw a great image, a massive statue, bright, terrible, powerful, and it wasn't made of one material, it was layered. The head was gold, chest and arms were silver, the belly and thighs were brass, the legs were iron, and the feet were a strange mixture. Iron and clay. Already that's unusual. Different materials, different strengths, different values. But the dream doesn't stop there, because suddenly something appears. A stone, not carved by human hands, not placed there by anyone. It just comes, and it strikes the statue at the feet, and when it does, everything collapses. The iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold, gone, reduced to dust, blown away like chaff in the wind. And that stone, it doesn't stop. It grows, becomes a mountain, fills the whole earth. This is where most people miss it. At this point, a lot of people hear that and think, interesting story, powerful imagery, but what does it actually mean? Daniel doesn't leave it up for interpretation. He explains it, clearly, directly. This statue represents kingdoms, not random ones, a sequence, one after another, a timeline of power, and right away he identifies the first piece. The head of gold, Babylon. Daniel looks at Nebuchadnezzar and says something bold. You are the head of gold. That's not symbolic guesswork, that's direct. Babylon is the beginning of this statue, and it fits perfectly. Gold represents value, wealth, brilliance. Babylon was known for all of that. Massive architecture, cultural dominance, wealth beyond comparison. It was the standard, the peak. But Daniel doesn't stop there, because he says something else. After you, another kingdom will arise. Silver. And history records exactly what happened next. Babylon falls, and the Medo-Persian Empire rises. Now notice something. The statue moves from gold to silver, less valuable, still strong, but not the same. And it has two arms, just like the Medes and the Persians, two powers working together, not as unified as Babylon, but powerful enough to take it down. Again, the sequence holds. Then comes the next shift, brass. And once again, history lines up. Enter Greece, led by Alexander the Great. And if you know anything about Alexander, you know one thing: speed. He conquered the known world faster than anyone before him. Relentless, strategic, expansive, and brass fits that. Strong, efficient, widespread. Not as valuable as gold or silver, but incredibly effective. And once again, the pattern continues. Iron. And this is where the tone shifts, because iron isn't about beauty, it's about strength, force, domination. And that lines up perfectly with Rome. Rome didn't just conquer, it crushed, it expanded through discipline, military precision, and control. Daniel even describes this kingdom as one that breaks everything in pieces. That's Rome. And at this point, something becomes undeniable. This isn't random symbolism. This is a timeline that has followed real history step by step. Now we reach the part most people either skip or misunderstand. The feet, iron mixed with clay. And Daniel explains something critical. This kingdom will be divided, part strong, part fragile, trying to hold together but never fully merging. Now stop for a second and think about that. After Rome, what happened? Did one global empire take over everything? No. It fractured into nations, kingdoms, systems, all trying to unify but never fully succeeding. Strong in some ways, weak in others. Sound familiar? Look at the world today. Alliances, unions, treaties, global systems attempting to bring everything together, and yet division never disappears. Because according to the vision, it can't. Iron and clay don't mix. Now this is where the statue stops feeling ancient and starts feeling current. Daniel describes the final phase as iron mixed with clay. Strong but brittle, unified but divided, trying to become one but never fully holding together. And then there's that line that stands out. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another. That's a strange way to say it, because it separates they from the seed of men. Now let's stay grounded. Historically, this has been understood as kingdoms trying to unite, alliances, marriages, empires, systems, constantly trying to become one and constantly failing. And that's true. But here's what makes this moment in history different from every other time before it. For the first time, we're not just watching nations try to merge. We're watching systems try to merge with people. Technology is no longer something you just use. It's something that's starting to integrate into your habits, your decisions, your identity. Think about it. Algorithms shaping what you see, systems predicting what you'll do, devices tracking where you go, what you buy, how you think. And now we're moving even further. Artificial intelligence, biometric data, neural interfaces. The line between system and human is getting thinner. So when you read iron mixed with clay, you're looking at something incredibly strong, like iron. Rigid, structured, powerful, but also something fragile, human, inconsistent, unpredictable. And the two are being pushed together, forced into unity. But according to the prophecy, they don't fully bond. They don't truly become one. And if that's true, then everything we're seeing right now, all the attempts to unify the world, all the systems trying to connect everything and everyone, it's not leading to perfect unity. It's leading to tension, to instability, to a system that looks strong on the surface, but has cracks underneath. Iron and clay, holding together. Just enough to stand, but never enough to last. Now, step back and look at the full picture. Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, divided systems. Where are we? We're not at the head, we're not at the chest, we're not at the legs, we're at the feet right before the final event, the stone. And now we come to the moment everything builds toward, the stone. Not made by human hands, not political, not man-made. It appears suddenly, and it doesn't negotiate. It doesn't coexist. It strikes the statue and everything collapses. Every kingdom, every system, gone. And that stone becomes a mountain, filling the whole earth. Daniel explains it plainly. This is a kingdom set up by God, one that will never be destroyed. Let that sink in. Every empire in that statue thought it would last forever. Babylon believed it was untouchable. Persia believed it was unstoppable. Greece believed it was inevitable. Rome believed it was eternal, and every single one fell. So the real question is, why would the final system be any different? This is what makes the prophecy so powerful. It's not just identifying kingdoms. It's revealing a pattern. Value decreases, strength increases, unity decreases, division increases, until you reach a system that is both strong and broken at the same time. That's the feat, and that's where we are. You've just seen the pattern. Not theory, not speculation, a timeline laid out long before history unfolded, and it's been hitting every mark. Empire after empire, rising, falling, exactly as it was shown. And now we're standing at the feet, strong but divided, connected but unstable, holding together just enough to look solid. But the truth is, the cracks are already there. And according to that vision, what comes next doesn't rise slowly. It hits suddenly, completely, permanently. So the real question isn't if the system changes, it's are you ready when it does? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is Rock Solid TV, uncensored history, unfiltered truth, unshakable faith. Stay awake.